Good evening everyone. Welcome to Dr. Sam's Pediatrics. I am Dr. S.A. Mahesh Khanna. I am a consultant pediatrician in MLP Clinic and I also work as assistant professor in Swami Vivekananda Medical College, Tiruchendur. Today we are going to discuss about the importance of age-wise classification in pediatrics. This is the first video in N.E.X.T conceptual pediatrics based lectures. So let's go on to the video. Age-wise classification in pediatrics and the importance of it. I have classified the pediatric age group into the intrauterine part and the extrauterine part. First, a sperm and an ovum get fused and fertilized and conception happens. From day 0 of conception to 2 weeks, it is called as a zygote. A zygote is a ball of cells. From 3rd week to 8th week, it is called as the embryo. The zygote is now renamed as embryo from 3rd week to the 8th week. From 9th week till birth, this embryo is renamed as fetus. Now let's get to the importance of this classification. From 0 to 2 weeks, since the zygote is just a ball of cells, if there is any insult happening at that period, this will mostly lead to abortion or the demise of the zygote. From 3 to 8 weeks, this ball of cells goes into a phase of organogenesis. Your organ systems, your limbs are getting formed. If there is an insult during that period, that will lead on to malformations. From 9th week till birth, this embryo is renamed as fetus. In the fetal period, the organogenesis is almost over and hence any insult in the fetal period will not cause malformations but will cause growth retardation. The organ will be smaller in size. So this completes the intrauterine phase and now the birth happens. We will classify the extrauterine phase of the baby as follows. From birth to the first 28 days, the baby is called as the neonate. It is the neonatal period. From 28 days to 1 year, it is called as the infant. And from 1 year to 3 years, the baby is called as the toddler. The first 28 days, the neonatal period, it is further classified as first 1 to 7 days, it is called as the early neonatal period, and 7 to 28 days, it is called as the late neonatal period. This early neonatal period is very significant because the sick babies usually succumb and the neonatal mortality rate is higher in the early neonatal period. In the late neonatal period, certain non-critical congenital heart disease usually manifests in the late neonatal period. From day 29, from after the 28 days to 1 year, this is called as infancy. In infancy, this phase is very important because the growth and development of the baby happens in a rapid pace in this period. And we as pediatricians are very concerned about the infancy period. In the first 1 year to 3 years, it is called as a toddler. Toddler in English means just happily walking around. These babies are to be under strict supervision because certain catastrophic events like foreign body aspiration are very common in this toddler age group. From 3 years to 5 years, we have seen up to 3 years, they are called as toddlers. From 3 years to 5 years, it is the preschool period, where we get the child to go to the kindergartens, the LKG and the UKG phase. From 5 years to 15 years, it is called as school-going children. School-going is a generalized term where it is used from 5 years to 15 years. From 10 years to 18 years, it is called as adolescence. The early adolescence is classified as 10 to 14 years, whereas the late adolescence is classified as 14 to 18 years. This is the pediatric classification. There is a term called as teenage, which is just based on an English word, which is from 13 years to 19 years because the number from 13 to 19 ends in teen. That's it. We use this kind of classification. I'll give an example for understanding the significance of this classification. If a child has wheezing till 5 years of age, we are not going to label him as an asthmatic child. We call him as a hyperreactive airway disease. And certain diseases like nephrotic syndrome, usually the simple type of nephrotic syndrome occurs in preschool and the school going children, which is from 3 to 8 years. And a diagnosis of established rheumatic heart disease, not rheumatic carditis. It is rheumatic heart disease, does not happen until this child enters more than 10 years. So you will understand this later on part when you come into proper pediatrics, but the significance of classification of age group is this. So from 3 to 5 years it is called as the preschool child. From 5 years to 15 years it is called as school going. From 10 years to 18 years it is the adolescent period, which is further subclassified as 10 to 14 years as early adolescence and 14 to 18 years as late adolescence. More behavioral issue, addictions and abuse usually happens in this adolescent period. So this is the basic funda and the concept behind classification of age group in pediatrics. We will at last finally revise one more time about the all age groups, just the name alone. Finally, we will summarize about the age classification in pediatrics. After conception, the first 2 weeks, it is called as the zygote. From the 3rd week till the 8th week, the zygote is renamed as embryo. From the 9th week till birth, it is the fetus. From birth till 28 days, this is called as the neonatal period. It is further reclassified into early neonatal period in the first 7 days and the late neonatal period from 7th to 28th day. After the 28th day till 1 year, the baby is called as infant. From 1 year to 3 years, it is called as a toddler. From 3 years to 5 years, it is a preschool child. From 5 years to 15 years, it is called as school going child. The adolescent period is from 10 to 18 years, where the early adolescence is from 10 to 14 years and the late adolescence is from 14 to 18 years. So this brings an end to this topic. Thank you.